round of applause to Mr. Louis Foreman.
Good morning. Glad to be with you today. My day started off a little strange because I walked in the wrong door and I saw everyone carrying a gun, and I thought, this is not my people. I'm used to people carrying prototypes, but certainly ones that don't kill you. But as Tom mentioned, I'm involved in a number of different areas in the area of innovation. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Started my first business when I was in college in my fraternity room. And for the last 26 years, I've known nothing but creating businesses, creating jobs, creating opportunities. And so it's wonderful to be with you this morning and talk a little bit about ideas and innovation and how do you take that great idea and make money from it. The company that I operate in Charlotte, North Carolina is a company called Inventus. We're a product design firm. I've got 63 people on staff, mostly mechanical engineers, industrial designers, who take ideas and develop them into products. And we work with companies to take existing products and make them better, or to find a pain that consumers suffer from and develop or invent a remedy. But in many cases, we help companies diversify. And so we're very diverse in the various industries that we work in, but the one consistent thing that we do is we help turn ideas into something that you can make money from. What we realized in our business is we had a lot of people coming to us with great ideas, with great stories. And so 5 years ago, we purchased Inventor's Digest magazine. It's been around for 27 years. How many people subscribe to Inventor's Digest? Okay, well, we could use a few more, because I'll tell you one thing about Inventor's Digest. If you think the publishing business is tough, the inventor publishing business is even tougher. But it's the biggest charity that I give to every year, but it's something that I think is important for the inventor community, because it really tells the stories of you. It tells the stories of people who have great ideas and need help. They need inspiration. They need motivation to turn their great ideas into something that makes money. And then recently, we embarked on reality TV. In my business, we get a lot of people coming to us with great ideas, but they don't have the financial resources. They don't have the time. They don't understand, how do you go from that eureka moment, that sketch on a napkin, to the store shelf? And so in 2007, we partnered up with the US Patent Office and PBS to produce a TV show called Everyday Edisons. On Everyday Edisons, the premise is very simple. Everybody has a great idea. The problem is, most people never follow through with those ideas. I'm going to guess that everyone in this room at some point has had one idea, two ideas, many ideas. But many of those you've never followed through because life gets in the way. You realize that you don't have the time. You don't have the money. You don't understand the market or the process. And so those ideas just stay remnant. They don't go anywhere. So with Everyday Edisons, each season we look at lots of ideas. Last season, over 15,000 ideas were submitted to our casting call. Out of those 15,000, we chose 10. Now, on Everyday Edisons, we don't throw anyone off an island. We don't humiliate anyone. We don't make people cry. The judges don't fight back and forth. What we do is we show the real process of turning an idea into an invention. Each week you watch the process as an idea goes from that sketch on a napkin through industrial design, engineering, prototyping, manufacturing, packaging, and then ultimately we celebrate when that invention goes to market, whether it's licensed by a company or it ends up on a store shelf at Home Depot or Bed Bath & Beyond or is in the Sky Mall catalog. We show the different paths that an idea can follow to get to the marketplace. And along the way, we interview successful inventors, guys like James Dyson and his 5,127 prototypes, or Doris Christopher, who started selling kitchen gadgets out of her basement and ultimately sold that business to Berkshire Hathaway. We love to celebrate the successes. And then, of course, being on PBS has advantages as well. Not quite the Kardashians, but a good second choice. We've had some great successes over the 4 seasons of Everyday Edisons. In season 1, Brad and Melinda Shepard came to us with a problem. Their kids spilled stuff on the floor. Cheerios, crackers, whatever it may be. So we took that pain, we took that problem, invented a product called the Gyro Bowl. The Gyro Bowl has sold over $65 million. Not a bad execution of a simple idea. In our second season, Michael Deep came to us with a 2x4 covered in carpeting and sandpaper. not very marketable, but we turned that idea into a product called Emery Cat. And Emery Cat sold in over 35,000 stores, almost $100 million in revenue. And then last season, we had two guys from Indianapolis come to us with a wet washcloth. They told us that if you put a wet washcloth in the dryer with your clothes, it helps get some wrinkles out. Well, I don't know about you, but a wet washcloth isn't very marketable. Kind of hard to sell that on a store shelf. So our team turned that product into a product called Mr. Steamy, and that product has sold over $35 million. The consistency between all of these is that it just started with a pain. It started with a problem that consumers suffered from, and we had to invent a solution. We had to execute. We had to follow through. But we realized that we can only help 10 people on a TV show, but we can help more people through our relationship. So we launched Edison Nation in 2009. And if you're not a member of edisonnation.com, I encourage you to join it because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to join Edison Nation. But what it opens you up to is a community of like-minded individuals. There are forums with people just like you sharing their stories, offering advice and suggestions and encouragement on what to do with your invention. But more importantly, what we do at Edison Nation is we partner with the leading consumer product companies, the leading retailers, to identify opportunities, to find out what companies are looking for, and then we launch what we call live product searches. So if you've got a great as seen on TV product, or a great baby product, or a great kitchen product, we can accept that idea in a confidential manner, we can vet through those ideas, and we can make a decision which ones we'll invest in. And if we invest in those ideas, and if we're able to license those ideas, we split it 50-50. So it's a very transparent process. We're 50-50 partners. We assume all the risk. You supply the idea. So let's talk about ideas, because ideas are pretty cheap. Anybody can come up with an idea. But the difference between a great idea and making money from an idea is what? Doing it. That's right. It's execution. It's follow through. All right? It's actually taking the time to turn your idea into something tangible that people can purchase. And so ideas are easy. Execution is really where kind of the rubber meets the road. It's where you've got to make that investment. And so when we talk about ideas, turning a great idea into a great product is going to require a financial commitment. It's going to require an investment of time and resources. Hopefully you're lucky along the process. But if you're successful, the rewards are there. And you saw those with the Gyro Bowl, with Mr. Steamy, with Emery Cat, and over 700 other products that we've successfully licensed. So why is innovation so important? You hear the word innovation every day. Whether you're reading it in the newspaper, or a corporation's telling you how innovative they are, or the candidates are talking about how innovation is the key to growth and survival in this country. And the reality is innovation is critical because when you look in the consumer product space, nearly 50% of all product sales are coming from products that are less than 2 years old. The cycle of product development is faster than it ever has been before. It used to be, as consumers, we were willing to buy a brand that we recognized. We bought something that our parents bought because it was a promise of quality and consistency. We knew that if we bought a brand we recognized, it would work the way it always worked. But today, consumers have less brand awareness and brand loyalty. They want new and improved. Look at that cell phone in front of you. How many versions of the iPhone do we need? Everyone is starving for the next version. All right? We don't want to wait years and years and years. We want something new, shiny, better, that performs better than what we had before. And so there's less brand loyalty before. There's more demand for new products. And as a result, companies have to continuously fill their funnel. They need to add more and more new product ideas to their offering so they stay relevant. The beauty of innovation is that it levels the playing field. It allows each one of you to compete with the biggest companies in the world. Because if you have something new and innovative that consumers see the value of, they'll purchase it. How many people have ever heard of a company called Vizio? Everyone, right? They make flat screen TVs. Yet 10 years ago, if I asked that question, no one would have known what I was talking about. Vizio walked into a marketplace that was dominated by brands like Sony, Toshiba, Philips. They came into a marketplace with innovation. They brought new technologies. And they brought new technologies to Costco that has the most liberal return policy of anyone. Because they knew that if a consumer tried Vizio and wasn't happy, they could always return it. So retailers have made it easier for us to compete because retailers are willing to take a product back if it doesn't live up to expectations. Sony, Toshiba, RCA, Philips, they sat back and said, Vizio can't take market share from us. No one's ever heard of them before. But yet today, Vizio is the leading manufacturer of flat screen TVs in the world. They went from nothing to being the leader in less than 10 years. And it was all through innovation. So, when we talk about innovation, and we talk about being an entrepreneur, we talk about bringing a product to market, we have to understand that there's a relationship here. It's a relationship between risk and reward. Starting a business or launching an invention is risky. You can spend and lose a lot of money. You can waste a lot of time. You may inadvertently infringe on someone else's intellectual property, or your invention may cause harm. But the reason we do it is because there's rewards. You can make a lot of money. You can be gratified for the fact that you brought something to society. You may get notoriety, or you may just want to follow through with your idea to prove you can do it. But you need to understand that the process of bringing an idea to the marketplace is expensive. There's a real investment, and it's not just dollars. It's also time. There's no guarantee of success. No matter how much your mom loves the idea or your friends love the idea, there better be a whole lot of them to justify why you're doing it. So you need to make sure that the odds are in your favor. But most importantly, you've got to make sure that there's a return on investment. I'll make you a deal right now, okay? I'll give anyone who comes up here with $100, I'll give them $80 back, okay? It's only $100. It's not a lot to get involved. How many people would take me up on that offer? No one, because there's no return on investment. But if I told you right now that for every person who came up here with $100,000, I'd give them $300,000, how many people would take me up on that? Better be every single one of you. And even if you don't have $100,000, you'll find $100,000 because if you can demonstrate that you can make money doing what you're doing, the investors will be there. The funding will follow. The problem is, when you talk with people and they're not willing to jump in and invest in your idea, you just aren't telling a good story yet. You haven't wowed them. You haven't compelled them. You haven't shown them that there is a return on investment. Focus on the return, not on how little it's going to cost. I see so many people come up with an idea and immediately start spending money, meeting with a patent attorney, building prototypes. Don't spend money until you know how you're going to make money. And the way we do it is we determine whether our idea is feasible or not. There's 5 questions that each one of you should be asking yourself and answering before you pull your wallet out. Before you start investing, make sure that you know how much it's going to take. So question number 1, what is your product and why is it relevant? Now I'm going to say something that's probably not going to be very popular, but I feel obligated to say it. Every invention in this room, every idea that you have, we don't need. We don't. It's 2012, it's almost 2013, and I promise you society will be here tomorrow if your idea does not go to market. But tomorrow, consumers will wake up and they will want to buy things. They will want to buy things that make their life better. They'll want to buy things that are more efficient or better for the environment. They'll want to buy things that they have always aspired to own. There's a huge difference between needing something and wanting something. Please, erase the word need from your vocabulary. Never tell me that the world needs what you have. You've got to convince me why the world wants what you have. That's the difference. You've got to figure out what it is about your invention, your business idea, that will obligate, that will incentivize the consumer to buy your product instead of someone else's. Because every invention we have is just a replacement to something else. Maybe it's a better replacement, but you've got to figure out why it's unique enough to get consumers to purchase it. So you want to focus on why it's different than your competition. Is it better for the environment? Is it better designed? Is it more efficient? Will people aspire to own it? But focus on what is unique about the product rather than just competing with everybody else in the space. It really comes down to the value proposition. What is the consumer getting when they buy your product? Are they getting more time with their family? Are they getting a good feeling about how they're treating the environment? Are they getting something that's going to lower their bills? But focus on the uniqueness of the product. Second question, who is your customer? Do not say, if I just get 1% of the marketplace, I will make a lot of money. Because 1% of the marketplace is not reality. The marketplace is not your consumer. You need to be able to paint a picture. Who is this customer? How old are they? How much money do they make? What's their education level? Geographically, where are they located? You need to tell me that your perfect customer is a male. He's 20 to 32 years old. He's got a college education. He makes $50,000 to $75,000 a year, and he lives in the Midwest. Because if you can point to who your customer is, you can quantify how many customers exist. You can pull census data to find out the size of your market. You can go and talk with those customers. So instead of saying, I want 1% of 330 million people in the US, tell me that you're going to get 1% of the 1.7 million consumers that actually fit your profile. That's more realistic. And if you know who your customer is, you can answer number 3. And that is, how are they going to react? Is there demand? Do they want your product? Don't ask people who are not part of your target market whether they like your invention or not. Talk to the people who have the ability to buy what you have. And so what we need to find out is, do they want it? We need to find out what problem does it solve, and how much would they be willing to pay for it, and where would they expect to buy it from, and how often would they purchase it? You may have a great idea, but the reality is the price that it's going to cost to bring it to market and manufacture it may be more than what consumers are willing to pay for it. You may have a great idea, but consumers aren't willing to buy enough of it to justify the investment to bring it to market. You don't know this until you ask these questions. And so to ask these questions, we've got to find these consumers. If you've got a great pet product, where do you find your customer? Yeah, at the park. My guess is if you've got a great dog product and someone's carrying a leash, hopefully there's a dog on the other end of that leash, right? And you can talk with your customer. You can ask them questions. You can say, I'm an inventor, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm thinking about bringing something to market. What do you currently purchase to deal with this? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? If there was a better product out there that did it easier or faster or for less money, would you buy it? And how often would you buy it? And what would you expect to pay for it? And where would you buy it? I haven't disclosed my invention. What I've done is I've isolated what is the pain and what they're willing to pay for the remedy. But you're not going to know the answers to these questions if you don't ask them. Question number 4, how much money is it going to take? Inventors and entrepreneurs, we are so quick to pull out our wallet and pull out the credit card and start financing our way through this invention process. What we need to identify before we start is how much money do we need, and is it enough? If you are going to take a great vacation, you know the destination is going to be amazing. You need to make sure before you leave that you've got enough money to get you there. Because if you start the vacation, if you get in the car and start driving and don't have enough money to get you to the final location, not only do you not arrive, but you may have a hard time getting back. And that's the problem that many inventors and entrepreneurs face, is that you start with personal savings, maybe borrow a little money from friends and family, pull out credit cards as a last resort, And if you still don't have enough money to get you to the point of profitability, you failed. And you've lost your money and your friends' money. So what you really need to do is identify what are the costs associated with starting your business up. The prototype fees, the patent fees, the engineering and development costs. And then you've got to make a decision if you're going to operate a business, what are the costs of running that business? You build a pro forma income statement and figure out what your income is going to be, your cost of goods, your overhead, and whether or not there's a profit or a loss. What you may find is that you can be profitable but not profitable enough. You may find that you can make money, but it's the return that you're going to make is not enough to justify the risk. Or you may find that the market is there and that the investment that you have, the dollars that you're willing to put up, are sufficient to get you to profitability. But you wouldn't know this unless you go through this exercise. And the reason why many businesses fail is because they don't have enough to get them to the final destination. They've got enough to get started, but not enough to finish. So the fifth question we have to answer is, once we know how much money we need, we've got to figure out where that money is going to come from. Now, obviously, friends and family and personal savings are a great place to get dollars. We may go to banks or the SBA or maybe even angel investors or private equity. But sometimes you just got to get creative. Sometimes you need to partner with a manufacturer or leverage a purchase order that you get from a customer to finance your business. But the bottom line is, don't get hung up on how little it costs to invest in your business. Don't get caught up on, well, it's only going to be $5,000 to develop my product. That's low risk. For the same reason no one wants to give me $100 for $80 back, you shouldn't look at how little it's going to take. You need to focus on how much money you're going to make off of that investment. So if the numbers don't add up, don't do it. There is no statute of limitations on being an inventor or an entrepreneur. The government may want to control a lot of things, but they don't control our innovation. There's no age that you get to where the government says, you know, you're just too old to be inventing. Step away from the lathe. They don't tell you that you're too old to invent. What you've got to decide is, what is your best idea? Not the first idea that comes to your mind, but the idea that has the greatest chance for success, the one that you're going to actually make money from. So, next steps. Find the money. Don't start this journey unless you have the resources behind you to make sure you get to the final destination. Second, protect your idea. The U.S. is amazing in the sense that it offers inventors patent protection, the ability to prevent others from making, using, or selling your invention for a period of 20 years from the date of filing. That is your mini monopoly. That is the property right that you're entitled to if your invention is novel, non-obvious, and useful. Make sure that you protect your invention and make sure you work with a reputable patent attorney. I know you may think you can do it yourself, but the difference between a good patent and a bad patent is in the structuring of the claim language. Pay someone the fees to do it the right way. It may seem like a lot of money, $5,000, $600, $8,000. But your intellectual property may end up being the most valuable asset that you own. I've got a friend in Los Angeles, an inventor, who invented some medical devices. He spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on patents, worked with really good patent attorneys, and ultimately sold his patent portfolio, not his business, but his patent portfolio, for $1.4 billion. I can promise you that the value of his inventions, the value came down to how strong his patents were and the fact that it prevented others from competing. Then you've got to reduce your idea to practice. So once you've gone ahead and you've protected the idea, you've got to produce a prototype, something that allows you to demonstrate your invention and its function to potential investors, to potential customers. You've got to be able to show that it actually works. And then you've got to make a decision. Do you want to be an entrepreneur, manufacture, sell, and market your product? Or do you want to license your invention to a company that already has sales, already has distribution, already has marketing and fulfillment in place? The difference is going to be whether you're receiving a gross margin on the profits of a company or making royalties on sales. Again, it comes down to that relationship between risk and reward. Licensing has very little risk, but the rewards are lower. Whereas manufacturing and distributing the product yourself has much greater rewards, but huge risks behind it. Depending on your personal situation, you've got to make that decision. But you need to start small. Get traction. Get people to validate your idea. And that may be selling your product online. That may be coming to an event like this and getting customer feedback. That may be selling to catalog retailers or small local retailers. Don't think for a minute that as soon as you come up with an invention that the people in Bentonville, Arkansas are just waiting for you to arrive. You've got to prove to that buyer that your invention will sell, that consumers will buy it and they will buy it over and over and over again. The last thing you want to do is fill a warehouse full of product thinking that you're going to sell to a big retailer and that purchase order never comes. And so licensing may make sense, or it may be that you initially start by selling your product and then eventually look for a license later. So, I've been doing this a really long time, and we've learned some things in the process. We've learned that there's no age to coming up with a great idea. Herb Hart was 78 years old when he came to us with an idea for a better wrench. He took 24 wrenches, reduced it down to 3. We were able to develop that product, patent that product, and license it to the Home Depot. We learned that people who bake love baking, but they hate putting their pans away. Baking pans take up a lot of space. So Phil Avery came to us with a concept, and we developed that into folding metal bakeware. So you pull the tab, the cake pan folds flat, makes it easier to frost, makes it easier to serve, and more importantly, it makes it easier to store those bake pans when you're not using them. That product's been licensed now to World Kitchen, which is Pyrex. We learned that sometimes the simplest ideas are the best ideas. Franklin Ramsey is a retired IBM executive. He saw in the corner of his office a black garbage can, and he saw the janitorial company tying a knot in the corner of the bag to prevent the bag from falling in. So he took a knife that he had in his drawer, he cut slits in the side of that can, poked the bag through it, got his finger stuck and cut pretty badly, but he had a great idea there. He brought the idea to us, we developed that idea, and invented a technology called Pressix, which we now license to over a dozen different companies. That simple idea, the patent on putting slits on the side of a garbage can to hold the bag in place, is deployed every single day in hundreds of thousands of units and generates millions of dollars in royalties. Matt Fleming loves to play ping pong. Problem is he lives in a small DC apartment and there's no room for a ping pong table. His wife said, look, we're either going to have a dining room or we're going to have ping pong, and I think she won out. But we turned that idea, that passion for a game, into something that actually works today. A product called Monster Pong that folds up, fits in the closet, slides under the bed, just license that to Whammo. And one of my favorites is that inventions that seem silly can still sell a lot of units. Betsy Kaufman is a 53-year-old suburban housewife from Houston, Texas. She is not an inventor, but she hates to peel the shell off of a hard-boiled egg. She submitted to Edison Nation, literally, I hate peeling shells off of hard-boiled eggs. That's it. We took that idea, laughed, put it to the side, and then one of our engineers said, you know what, I think I know how to fix that. We invested in that idea, we developed that product, and between July and December of last year, manufactured 33 million little plastic eggies off of just a simple problem that a consumer faced. And then finally, inventions have the ability to change someone's life. Mark Stark came to us for season 4 of Everyday Edisons with probably the most unusual concept. His best friend is an amputee. His best friend has a hook. His best friend can't carry a microphone or a cup of Starbucks, swing a bat, sweep a broom. The difference between a hook and a $65,000 myoelectric hand is pretty far. So Mark decided that he wanted to invent something that bridged that gap. So we developed the Stark prosthetic hand. Popular Science magazine named it one of the inventions of last year. We've licensed that to Hanger Prosthetic, the largest prosthetics manufacturer in the world. That product will cost less than $300 to manufacture. Not only does it have huge implications here in the United States, but globally, where a hook isn't even affordable, this will give mobility, it will give performance, it will give humanity a great gift. But it all starts with an idea. It's about recognizing a problem and following through with that, with the solution. So there's great resources out there. I've got to compliment Tom. You put on an amazing event. This is, I think, my third or fourth year coming here. The fact that we can have this discussion, the fact that we can begin a dialogue about innovation and helping people get their ideas to market is wonderful. There's other resources out there as well, and I encourage you to explore them. The U.S. Patent Office, and hopefully you'll hear Terry speak later today. She's the Deputy Director of the U.S. Patent Office. The U.S. Patent Office loves inventors. They love independent inventors. The fact that they're here today is a testament to the fact that they love inventors. But if you go to their website, there's amazing resources available for the independent inventor community. You can also go to Inventor's Digest if you want to share the stories or learn from others' successes and failures. And then finally, if you haven't joined Edison Nation, there's no reason not to. It's free. Just come on board and learn. Watch the interviews of James Dyson or Jeff Bezos. Learn what inspired these individuals to follow through with their great idea, because the difference between you and them is just execution. That's it. Your ideas are as good as theirs. The difference is that they followed through. They persevered. They surrounded themselves with good people to help make their dream come true. Thank you for your time.